Ego, Slammy, Ego, Slammy, Ego, Slammy, hey. Hit it up hard, hit it with strike. From the national anthem to the bottom of the night. Amen. Slammy, Ego, Slammy, Ego, Slammy, Ego, Slammy, hey. You already know what's up. What's that? Another home run. We should know the job ain't done till we hold that trophy up. Hey.
What's going on, everybody? Talking Friars here. Padres and the Rockies series that just wrapped up. Padres, they take 2 out of 3 in this series. They lost the first game, but then were able to get the wins in games 2 and games 3. A lot of runs scored in those last couple games of that series. 4-2 was the loss on Friday, 11-3 win yesterday, and then a 9-6 win today. And this was a game where the Padres were up 7-1 at one point. And it was a blowout, and it's kind of frustrating that it ended up getting to a point where, it was a one-run game, and it's like, Suarez going to come in, 9th inning of a one-run game. And then Gavin Sheets had the insurance there, and it ended up being a 3-run game, and Suarez ended up dotting some fastballs and pitching well, and you get out of it there with the series win, and now off day tomorrow, and then on to New York to face a Mets team that got a walk-off from Pete Alonso today, but I think they had lost 8 consecutive games in a row, so hopefully the Padres are catching the Mets at the right time, with their struggles there. But, good to be back live here on the show. I know it's been a little bit, been busy with work, but I appreciate everyone for the time, whether you're watching on YouTube or listening on the podcast platforms, but as always, I'll get to the chat, but just some thoughts on this Padres-Rockies series. Game 1, obviously frustrating. Rockies come in as a 40-win team, 40 and I think 105. And so to face a guy that had a, 6 ERA and just not able to do a whole lot, not great. It was good to see Manny homer. Obviously, it has been a big storyline. When was Manny going to get a day off? And he finally got that day off today, which made sense. If you're going to give him a day off in this series, it's to give him the day off today so that he has 2 days in a row, because he, Schwarber, Freddie Freeman, I think, and Ozzie Albies. No, not Freddie. Matt Olson, I think. Olson, Albies, and who was the other guy? They all had started every game of the season. Schwarber is the other guy. They all had started every game. Same thing with Manny until today. And Manny, he's coming off 2 good games, obviously, which it's the Rockies, so you can not really care about it. You can care about it, whatever. He went 2 for 3 last night, drove in 3 runs, had a homer. Game 1 went 2 for 3, had a homer, that solo homer. So a couple of good games, and now you sit him. Maybe some fans will bring that up, but I think the majority of the fan base, was happy to see Manny Machado not in the lineup today. Luis Ariz was not in the lineup. He was hit in the jaw by a Will Wagner overthrown baseball yesterday as he was running out to his position when, the game was already pretty much over. But he was running out to second base in between innings, and he gets nailed. And it's like, can we not ever catch a break like that? Like, this sucks. But maybe he'll be in there against the Mets on Tuesday. We shall see. I think King is scheduled to start game 1 there. But as for Manny, yes, very encouraging these first couple of games of this series for him to do what he did. And you see the damage and connecting on baseballs that, sure, it's against the Rockies, but you're still connecting on baseballs against major league players. They are in the big leagues. And those are balls that he was rolling over or popping up and just missing balls that it's like, you're Manny Machado, dude. You shouldn't be missing those balls. So there's encouragement there. Jackson Merrill, the real Jackson Merrill, to me, is someone who's hitting it to the opposite field, has that opposite field power, and we saw that today with that homer that he hit earlier in the series as well. So that's definitely encouraging. Nando, we saw some power from. So those are I think it's pretty much inarguable, the big 3 guys. It's Merrill, it's Nando, and it's Manny. Obviously, Bogarts can be key when he comes back. Hopefully, he gets some time at the end of this regular season before the postseason comes around. Obviously, Gavin Sheets is in that mix because of how valuable he's been for the Padres this year. But the big three guys, those are the big three guys. And if the Padres are not going to um, have much power production, not even just power production, but run production from those guys, it's going to be really hard for them to win baseball games. You know, like the first inning today where you had Crony lay down that bunt on the pitch right down the middle, surprised everyone. Like, that's great, but you can't convince me that you're going to win a bunch of postseason games doing that. You're going to have to be able to come through with a homer, a big 2-run homer somewhere where you're down by a run. Not all of these are going to be able to come from, infield singles or just singles, you know. And in the postseason, when you're facing the best pitchers, are you going to be able to consistently get 3 hits in an inning to bring a run in, right? It's a combination of those, though. Like, you're going to have to win some games from power, and you're going to have to win some games where it's not really coming, but you get a guy on base, you get a double, and you find a way to sacrifice him over to third and then get a sac fly. And, 2 outs in an inning, run scores, like something like that. So, got to be a well-rounded team, and the power has been missing from that. So, I did see Mike Schilt, by the way. I should say I didn't see it. I read it from AC's newsletter this morning. How he got a little irritated yesterday after his post-game presser. Again, I did not watch it, but it was something that stuck out to me. Stuck out. It stuck out to me from his post-game. I'm trying to bring it up here from Kevin. Okay, this is from Kevin. After yesterday, Padres beat the Rockies, which beats the alternative. They did everything they needed to and more, which is never anything to complain about, and certainly is not when things have been going poorly, but wait right there. Schilt has a bone to pick with the contention that the Padres have struggled, so he picked that bone after last night's 11-3 victory. Schilt says, the one thing about the narrative that I'd like to get out there is, the last 8 games, what's our record, which was 5-3. That's right, Schilt said. And that doesn't sound like, oh my gosh, 5-3. But how many wins do you get in a total season if you go 5-3? And then he said 101. So, I get the opportunity to share my belief system too, right? And that's one thing that for the sake of our mental health, the feeling of like, oh my gosh, oh my gosh, oh my gosh. This time I presume he meant the bad kind of, oh my gosh, this is Kevin writing, because he went on to say, and 5-3 is good baseball. 5-3 is good baseball. Could it have been more? Sure. Could always be more. But I just like the way we've gone about things in the last week plus. And that's fine for Schilt to be positive and be like, yeah, the process that we're going through, it's good. The last week, it's been better. There was that team breakfast that got out from Kevin, where it seems like some things were said. And since then, it's been better. The team wanting it, the team being engaged, like all that, it seems like it's been better. But Schilt, him bringing up, if you go 5-3 the whole season, what is that going to get you? 101 wins? Well, Schilt, the thing is, you haven't gone 5-3 the whole season. It's September 14th or September 13th when you said this quote last night. You saying that means nothing to me because you haven't been going 5-3. You got swept by the Orioles. You lost the series to a Twins team that sold the deadline, and it's clear they're not trying to win baseball games, consistently, like because they would have kept some of those key players. Just you haven't been able to play as good of baseball as you should. You've got key guys in your lineup that have really been struggling. Manny Machado, as much as I hate to say it, like you just got to look at the numbers. Since the trade deadline and going into this Rocky series, he was literally one of the worst hitters in baseball. His OPS was, I think, 4th worst among qualified hitters. And that's Manny Machado that we're talking about here. That's a guy we know can be better than that. And is he fighting through stuff? Sure he is. But it's just like, I think it's okay for people to, whether it's members of the media, fans, to bring up some of the baseball that hasn't been played or that has been played, but not very well recently. And so for someone like, so Kevin brought up that the Padres have struggled. Schilt can say, "Oh, haven't struggled the last week. They're 5-3," but Kevin's saying like the valid point. It's not just about the 5-3. It's about what have you done since like August 1st? What has your big player done since August 1st? You know, so that's where we're talking about where the Padres have struggled. Jeremiah Estrada, like if we go to the bullpen, have the Padres? They had a big 5 after the deadline. Now is it a big 3? Are you including Jeremiah Estrada in a big 4? All right, David Morgan went on the IL, I think, going into this series. I was saying, like, maybe we should include David Morgan and it be a big 6 the way that he was pitching. But Adams down, Morgan's down, Estrada, there's nicknames there among some in this fan base with his name, with the way that he has pitched. So it's just like, no, the offense hasn't been great. There's been some struggles, and I think that's totally okay to bring up and ask you about. If I'm talking to Mike Schill, like I know he wants to be optimistic, and he's going to have his players back, he's going to have his teams back, and he should. But it's some of the times where he goes back at members of the media, where I think the media is doing their job. I think they're saying things that are justified, and he goes at them in a way that I feel like a manager of a baseball team that's trying to go win shouldn't be wasting his time doing, right? Just answer the question, quick answer, and then move on with your day so you can go prepare for the next game, right? But creating this stuff, going back at members of the media, what does that do for Schilt? How does that serve Schilt? You think players are watching all of these Mike Schilt press conferences? Like, is that why he's doing it? Because he wants to look good for his players or his staff or whoever? Like, I just think sometimes he gets too emotional, too reactionary. His default is to back his guys regardless of what any question is asked. And I like Schilt. I like that he's the manager. But sometimes it's just like, yeah, we've struggled, but I was happy about the result tonight. And you can just leave it at that instead of going on about it and then creating more stuff, if that makes sense. So I know that was kind of just a side tangent there, but that did come to mind. But anyway, today a 9-6 win. Darvish, I did want to talk about that decision as well from Schilt. Removes him pitching into the 6th inning, but didn't get any outs in the 6th inning. So 5+ innings from him. And it was 3 earned runs because a couple of runs that was allowed by Estrada on the home run. That ends up getting charged to Darvish because those 2 runners reached while Darvish was on the mound. But Darvish had 5 punch outs. He didn't walk anyone. And I know I've seen it in the comments, like, well, Darvish should have just not allowed those first 2 runners on if he wanted to continue to be in the game. And he already had allowed a homer to Mickey Moniak. And so you go to Estrada there. But for me, it's like, it's September 14th. You've got one of your key guys on the mound. Like, if you want to go win the whole thing, Darvish is going to probably need to go more than 5 innings in postseason starts. Maybe not all of them, but at 82 pitches, to not give Darvish a shot there, to me, I just didn't love that. I didn't love that. What was the score at that point in time? 5th inning, it was 7-1. 7-1. Darvish is only at 82 pitches, and you can't allow him to try to get through that. Didn't really love that. And then, obviously, sure, it's like, oh, it's hindsight, 2020, all that. But Estrada hasn't been pitching that great. Like, my confidence level in Estrada right now is not where it was, a month ago. His last 7 games, he has a 7.11 ERA. His last 15, he has a 7.07 ERA. You go back to the last 30 games, it's 3.64. So, like, I'm talking about obviously recent struggles, but the fastball's not getting by some guys, and some pitches just are getting too much of the plate. And so right now, like, what reliever do I trust the most? Mason Miller. And then after that, it's Suarez and Morejon. Like, those are the three guys. Like I said earlier, it went from a big 5 to a big 3. So we'll see if Estrada can start pitching better going into October. That will obviously make me feel better about this whole thing. But yeah, I didn't love that the decision to remove Darvish that early in the game. Let's see. Mason Miller inning and a third, no runs, 3 punchies. Suarez, 38 save on the year, 3 punchies. Struck out the side there. Obviously, just big picture here of this series, taking 2 out of 3. It's something that at least needed to be done. Obviously, wanted to sweep the Rockies, especially when, you recently got swept by the Orioles. You want to get those wins back. And if you want any, chance to go knock off the Dodgers in this division, when you're facing bad teams, let's take advantage of that. And in game 1, you had a dude named Blaine Crim hit a homer off of you. Blaine Crim. Kyle Farmer homered in that game. Look, it was JP Sears. I'm not going to act like I had super high expectations for him, but offensively even, 0 for 7 with runners in scoring position in that game. So just wanting to take advantage of playing bad teams. The Rockies, they're 41 and 109 after this series. So, yeah, I'd like to sweep them. But again, like the Mets, they've really been struggling. So hopefully that can work in the Padres' favor. I think the White Sox are coming up as well. So let's get some wins there as well. But yeah, just trying to see if there's anything I wanted to bring up here from this series. Bryce Johnson's hitting over like 300 when he's gotten opportunities this year. So good for him. He's done really well coming off the bench. Now, that's probably in the lower leverage situations if we were to look at all the situations. But like I said yesterday, as a last guy on the bench, yeah, I'm fine with that. Manny, Merrill, and Tatis having homers yesterday. Bryce Johnson with the homer yesterday. Manny getting that day off again, like, it was needed. I know Manny takes pride in posting. I think if you ask him, like, deep down, he knew that he needed to take today off. That's probably why it happened. Because if we go back to the whole conversation about is Manny the manager, Schilt's actually the manager, Schilt can just not write his name in the lineup card and then he won't play, right? That's how easy it is to give Manny a day off. But you got to think of it this way. Mike Schilt is a player's manager, and Manny Machado is a future Hall of Famer. And Schilt knows that Manny's the best player on the team. I know he wasn't performing like that offensively, but he's the most talented player. He's the best player on this team. And so you're just going to take that guy out of the lineup when he wants to play every day, and he thinks that he can help you, and you're still trying to go to win that division. Like, if you're thinking of it from Schilt's view, like, would I rather have Mason McCoy at shortstop and Iglesias at third, or Manny Machado in my lineup playing third base? Right? But you're also playing the Colorado Rockies. And you've got the double day off for him now because you have the day off tomorrow. I know it's a long flight to New York, but still get him off his feet as much as possible. I know it's kind of ridiculous to even bring up, but what if they would have, looking back at it, because of how many runs. Now, Manny did contribute a lot for yesterday. And so what would have happened if he didn't play yesterday's game? They won 11-3, though. So they probably still could have won that game. What if Manny just didn't play this entire Rocky series? Because he was really struggling entering this series, and he's not going to get a break until the end of the Padres season. So what if you really took advantage of it and say, other guys in this lineup, step up. We're playing a 40-win baseball team. Manny, we're going to give you 4 days off, and then you can really reset and be ready to go the rest of the year. Should they have done that? I know it feels ridiculous kind of to suggest that. Like Manny would obviously never say yes to that. Like, are we trying to win the division, Skip, or not? Right? But I'm just saying, playing the Rockies and looking at hindsight, like I know he had 2 really good games there, the first and second games of this series, but playing the Rockies mid-September, Manny really struggling offensively. This is the break he's going to have. I feel like to actually have him feel better, a 4-day break would have made much more of a difference than a 2-day break, and it includes a flight to New York. A long flight to New York. So we'll see what happens there with Manny, and hopefully he can pick up from where he was hitting the first couple games of this Rocky series. But we'll see. Some super chats. Thank you so much to the chat here. I will get to the chat. Much appreciated. The other platform that I was trying, I think a couple months ago, wasn't great for you guys audio-wise, so I switched back. That was free for under the podcast umbrella that I'm under. This, though, I'm paying over $40 a month for, so, any super chats do help. I obviously can pay for it, but I do appreciate the help. I'm trying to just make this show as good as it can be audio-wise and visually for you guys. So much appreciated. JD's third says, Mr. Magoo is clueless, talking about Schilt. It's very apparent now why the Cardinals fired him. He is soft and can't stand up to AJ or these divas on the team. We are cooked. Look, last year were people saying, when they made the playoffs and they were right there, like, I don't think there were a ton of people that were saying this sort of stuff. Can Schilt stand up to Manny? Can he have a tough conversation with him? I'd like to say that he could. He has the fire in him. Like, just go watch post-game press conferences. Whenever a reporter asks any question that's negative, like, just go look at those post-game pressers. You'll go right at him. So it's in there. But is he going to do it to Manny? I mean, he just did. He just gave Manny a day off. Do you think Manny was like, I mean, he wants to be in the lineup every day, or else he would have taken the opportunities that he was given. He's already said this. He was given opportunities to take days off, take at least a day off earlier in the season. But he was like, nope, we got 20. This was a few days ago, I think. 22 games to go, whatever it was. There's no time for me to take days off now. Now, there was a game today, obviously, but that feels like that was a Padres decision saying, all right, we're finally going to not give you, the opportunity to say, yeah, I want to be in the lineup. Like, we're making this decision. But it was needed. Again, like today felt like the most logical day to give him the day off because it's back-to-back days off. But it was needed, regardless of when it was going to happen. It was needed. I'm not going to go as far to say that Mike Schilt is clueless because he's not. I know this is a fan that's overreacting. But like, it's been apparent, obviously, earlier in this show, if you're listening, I am not a fan of everything Schilt does. I'd rather have my manager be like this than be someone that is not like the player manager. Like, it is important to keep the clubhouse together and to keep the chemistry there. Like, it definitely is. You want that buy-in from the players. You want the players to feel like, they're supported by the coaching staff, right? But sometimes it's just like unnecessary, the media stuff, going back at media. Like, why are you wasting your energy? They're going to ask the question still. They're going to write whatever they write. People that waste their time, like, I just don't get it. Overreacting and spending so much energy on things that they can't control. I'm not talking about fans with the Padres. Like, I get it, fan base. You're a fan of the team. You love the team, right? I'm not talking about that, but I'm talking about people like Schilt, where you're the manager of the Padres, dude. Like that's a job so many people would want to have. Why? Why do you care so much about what the media is saying about your team? Just have your players support, have their backs, which he does, and then move on with your day so you can get on the plane and go to New York. Or in yesterday's situation, just have their back. If you disagree, you can say you disagree, but to me, I feel like he just goes a little bit over the top. Just say you disagree, and you're going to support them. You can still be positive, and then just move on. But he doesn't want to do that very much. Albert says sweep the Mets. Yes, sweeping the Mets would be very nice for sure. And like I think I said yesterday, the whole because the Padres, they're going to be, I think, the same spot that they were yesterday, which is going to be essentially 3 games back of the Dodgers. We can say, yeah, all it takes is one series. You sweep the Mets, and the Dodgers get swept by whoever they're playing next. But that's not going to happen. Are the Padres going to sweep a team the rest of the season? They've got the Mets. They've got the White Sox. They've got, is it Milwaukee? Milwaukee and then the D-backs, I think. I think that's it. The rest of the series this season. They're going to sweep one of those teams. Maybe the White Sox. But even if they do, are the Dodgers going to get swept by any team that they face the rest of the way? I find the odds of that very low. What's their schedule? So my point is just like, oh, they've got the Phillies coming up. Phillies, Giants. They've got a little bit of tough. D-backs, Mariners. Okay. So obviously our schedule is more favorable. But I still doubt that they're going to get swept by any of those teams. So my point there is like, you can't be banking on, oh, just one series. No. You got to be winning games here. You got to be winning more games than they do and win them now. It's September 14th. You can't be sitting there 3 games back with a week to go and be like, well, all it takes is one series. I'm sorry. I'm already kind of moved away from the division, and it's just not going to happen. But the talk that will continue about the division, because they are, there's still a little bit of time. Any chance that you have to win baseball games when you're playing bad teams, like, go do it. You got to take advantage of it. Rick says, appreciate your dedicated coverage, Ben. No, thank you guys. Much appreciated. Obviously wouldn't be what this channel is without you, so all the credit to you guys. I haven't been, obviously, doing game reactions as much lately, but that's more because, like, the respect that I have for you guys. Like, I'm not going to, because maybe some people do this. I don't know. But I'm not going to not watch a full game. Like, if I don't watch the full game, or let's say I watch 4 innings of the game, and then I'm going to come on here and react as if I watched the entire game, or, only watch the highlights of the game after work and then come on here and react to the game. Like, that doesn't feel right to me. So that's why. If you are wondering, like, where's Ben? I've obviously been really busy with work, so like I'm not gonna come on here and be reacting to games that I wasn't fully locked in on, because I can't be. So that's just the way it is. Like today, yep, I was locked in on the game, watched the game. Yesterday, same thing. Friday, no, so I didn't do anything. So that's just the way it is. But no, I appreciate you guys, and yeah, I'm only gonna do it when it feels right. That's all it is. I'm not doing it for subscribers. Um, I don't beg you to subscribe to the show 500 times during a video or during a live show. If you like it, you're going to. If you don't, then don't, and it's totally fine. Oh, thank you, Rick. Much appreciated. Here's one more for the platform fund. Thank you. I appreciate you guys. All right, let's get to the chat actually, but first, shout out to the great partners of this show. Gaggle and Bros Famous Cheesesteaks and Garlic Fries. Their main location is on Friars Road. You can check them out there. Great cheesesteaks, cheesesteak fries, garlic fries. It's really good, and I think it's at a pretty darn good price. So check them out. Um, they're at inside Snapdragon Stadium, and they're also at Petco Park. They're down the third baseline, and they're in the upper deck at Petco as well. Uh, if you're familiar with Petco Park down the third baseline, that location, it's where they used to do the Padres pregame show. Now they do it on the field, obviously, but where it used to be with the studio and Mark Sweeney and Pomerantz there, it's right across there. Same spot that it's been for years. Um, Speaking of Snapdragon Stadium, that was a frustrating loss by SDFC yesterday. Dang. I know it's the race for that was like if SDFC won that would have put away the Western Conference. But they lost 3-1. Right now they're at 56 points. Minnesota is at 54. Vancouver's at 52. Those are obviously the three there. Really, for me, it's down to Vancouver does have two matches more to play than San Diego and Minnesota, who are both at 30. But for me, it's between San Diego and Minnesota. We'll see what happens with Vancouver here down the stretch. But yeah, coming up next for SDFC, they've got a friendly against Club Tijuana, and then they play in Atlanta on Saturday against Atlanta United. Atlanta United draws really good crowds, so that should be a pretty good atmosphere there. But yeah, like coming up, they've got San Jose after Atlanta, Houston, and Portland on October 18th. That's a pretty spicy last regular season match there before the playoffs. But yeah, we will see. Will they be able to bring home the first hardware in club history, taking home the supporter shield? Because if I look at the table, it's between them and Philly right now. Philly, Cincinnati's at 55, Charlotte's at 53, Minnesota's 54, Vancouver's 52. So it's not like you win the West, you win the Shield. You got to win have the most points in the whole league. So Philly's up there right now, but winning the West in their first season. And by the way, this is a team that has dealt with injuries. Their starting 9, Marcus Invartson was out, and they've just totally had to change that this year. Chucky was out for a period of time. They've had to deal with guys on international breaks. Alosky, who was like the best forward in the league for a period of time with the amount of goals that he was scoring, he ends up going because they couldn't figure out a permanent signing there. Obviously goes to Philly, and he's been scoring goals there, and he's helping them win the Eastern Conference there. So there's been some adversity, but SDFC still, like, what a story to be able to do this in their first year. I wonder what it's going to look like, for years and years down the road because of this academy, and will they be spending as much money as they are now? Will they be bringing in as veteran of a group? The answer is going to be no, because like they're going to use their academy, obviously. But I just wonder, like, what if they see that, the academy isn't doing as much as we had hoped? And I'm talking, this is like way down the road, but they're not doing as much as we would have hoped. Are they going to go invest that money in international signings, right? To keep this team where the fan base, the supporters deserve, which is a team that's, at the top of the West every year, right? So we'll see. But yeah, SDFC and Wave, both playoff teams, both are projected to be in the playoffs this year. So should be a fun time in October and November, not just for the Padres, but for soccer in San Diego as well. And San Diego State football, by the way, I think they host Cal coming up at home on the 20th, on Saturday. And then Wave is going to be at Portland More shout outs to the sponsors of this show. Breaking Tea, they've got Padres and Aztec shirts and sweatshirts. Check them out. Link in the description. And then helping you out if you want to go to a Padre game or that last homestand of the season, the regular season. You want to go to an SDFC or a wave match. SeatGeek code Talking Friars for $20 off your first purchase your first order when you sign up with your email. JD's third says if we get into the playoffs, it will be a wild card exit. I mean, they're projected to face the Cubs at Wrigley. I think that they can beat the Cubs. I do. You send Pivetta, King, and Darvish out there, and you've got at least a back three in the bullpen. Hopefully, Estrada's pitching better. We know that there's talent there offensively. As for the wild card series, yeah, I'm going to put our team up against whoever we face in the wild card series and be like, yeah, they can go win that. As the series get longer, I think that's where, there's more questions there about, the bullpen management. How long can you get starters to go? How consistent can power production, for example, be for this offense? So that's where I wonder. But also, the good thing is it is September 14th, and I don't know what this team is going to look like going into October. Are they going to be playing bad, or are they going to be playing well like they were in 2022? And then you can have Grish, if I remember correctly, that last week or so, there were some positive signs going into the postseason, and then look what happened in the postseason. What happened in that wild card series? What happened in Game 3 of that division series with that homer, right? So really, right now, I'm in a waiting game, just waiting to see what is this team going to look like. Is Gavin Sheets going to be hot going in? Is Merrill going to be able to go opposite field, right? Tatis, Manny, how is he looking? So that's what I'm going to be looking at. Dylan Cease, I don't think that you're pitching him in a wild card series. Definitely not. I'm talking about starting him because he's not someone I trust in big games right now. But how is he going to be pitching, his last start, let's say, last couple starts going into October? Maybe that would help my confidence. I'm not so sure, to be honest. But yeah, Michael King, Darvish, how are they going to be looking? So it's September 14th. I'll have a better idea, and I'll be able to give you a better answer on the wild card series, my confidence level in them. Because, really, I do really believe if you're playing well going into October, I don't care where you're seated in the wild card, you have a chance to go win that series. In a short series like that, you can do that. The question more is the longer series. Let's see here. It's a tall task sweeping any team. Rick says tall task sweeping the Mets. Really, any team. I don't care who it is. Because they've got major league players on that other side, and taking 3 consecutive games, you performing well for 3 consecutive games, and the other team not having a great game for 9 innings, or 7 of the 9 innings in that game. That's tough, regardless of who you're facing. Let's see here. John says great series. Overall, great series. Yeah. Friday was a little rough. Yeah, we can talk about that wild card picture a little bit, John. Can't believe Giants and D-backs are back in the wild card race. Yeah, the D-backs obviously sold at the deadline. Merrill Kelly's not a D-back anymore. Josh Naylor. Who am I forgetting? Eugenio Suarez. So they're off. But you look at the D-backs now, they're 500, 75 and 75, and they are 2 games back of the Mets. Now the Mets, they're 2-8 in their last 10 games, so that's part of it too. It's not just that the D-backs are playing well, it's that the Mets have fallen. But yeah, Giants are right there, game and a half back. D-backs 2 back. Reds 2.5. I'm stopping there. I'm not giving the Cardinals anything there with 4 back. But yeah, Mets, Giants, D-backs, Reds, right there. If I had to guess, I think the Mets would still hold on. I'm really hoping the Giants don't make the playoffs because I'm not the biggest fan of Bob Melvin. But yeah, I'm not going to act like I've been watching D-backs games, so I can't really elaborate on it. But 6-4 in their last 10, 2 back of the Mets. They won a couple games in a row. There's still talent on that team. Corbin Carroll, Zach Gallen, Ketel Marte. Or is Ketel hurt? Perdomo. Although the D-backs, they could be out of it pretty quick. They've got the Giants coming up, the Phillies, the Dodgers, and then us. They don't have any easy series to end the season. So, yeah, after looking at that, I'm not too worried about the D-backs. And really, it's still the Mets to lose. They just have lost it right now. They're just collapsing. So hopefully it's, again, the Padres playing the Mets at the right time. I wouldn't say this Padre offense is non-existent. I mean, they did combine to score 20 runs in the last 2 games. It's the Rockies, but just saying. I'm not going to go defending the offense for 5 minutes like Shill would, but there's talent there. And I'm not saying I disagree when you say it's non-existent. Do we have probables coming up for this Padres Met series? Let's see. Off tomorrow. Tuesday, Michael King against Clay Holmes. Tuesday at 4:10. Wednesday also at 4:10. Pavetta for us. Thursday, 10:10 a.m. our time. TBD, both sides. And then at the White Sox, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. And then home against the Brewers for 3 games. Final off day of the regular season on Thursday, the 25th, and then the 26th, 27th, and 28th to finish out the regular season against the D-backs, who hopefully have a losing record, and hopefully they're out of it by the time that happens. And hopefully the Padres can clinch a playoff spot with at least a couple games so that Manny can not play those games. But yeah, that's what I've got. Padres take the Rockies series. Thank you all for the time. Much appreciated. Overall, pretty good series for the Padres. Some encouraging signs, but it's also the Rockies, so I get it if you're not going to be super convinced that they're back. I feel like Merrill's back, though, with the opposite field, some of the stuff that he showed there. So glad that Manny got the day off. He'll get 2 days off, actually, with tomorrow as well. And hopefully that just means good things going forward, because when Manny goes, this team goes.